Hello and welcome again to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to do a DevSecOps project. In this project, we are going to cover ArgoCD, Grafana, Prometheus, AWS Elastic Kubernetes, Jenkins, and Sonarqube, and some other concepts that we are going to cover in this project. So I will be going in details, step by step, and we will complete this project easily, and you will learn a lot of things in this video. Also, I will be going to share my article which is available on LinkedIn. You can whatever the commands we will use in this video, so you can just use those commands which is available in this video description as well. So let's get started. First of all, we have to create IAM user. You must have an AWS account, an AWS account console. You will need to search IAM. So here you can just go to the IAM page where you can click on users, and here you can create a user. You can give any name to your user. I will just give name code with move. Next, we have to attach policies. For this video, I'm just going to attach administrative access, but if you have your company project or something else, you can make sure you assign only limited permissions. Okay, so we are going to with administrative access, and I will just click on next. So we have to know create a user. So user is created. So next, I have to click on my user, and I have to go security credentials. And here I have to create access key and the secret key. So I will click on here, create access key, select command line interface. Next, give a name, create access key. So here what you have seen, access key and secret key is created for your IAM user. So you can download the CSV file as well. Because we will be going to use access key and the secret key in 2-3 places in our tutorial. So make sure you download the CSV. So we are now done with IAM user account creation. I have to do a next step, which is installation of a Terraform and AWS CLI, because we are going to create infrastructure using Terraform. So what I have to do, I will just go to the Google and how I can install these two things. So first of all, if I show you my article as well, which is I have not released during the video. So this is my article, and here I have mentioned, I have given the links as well, like how you can install Terraform. Okay. So if I just show you the link of this Terraform, I'll just open this Terraform installation link. It depends upon your system. You are using Mac, you are using Windows, okay? So you can just install it simply. So you can just, follow these steps to install it. And similarly, if we have to install AWS CLI, okay? So if I just show you the link and the page, which is available here as well, because I'm using Mac, but if you have a different system, you can just follow this link and you can easily install AWS CLI as well. So here you can see for the Linux, Mac OS, Windows, we have all the options available. Okay, so my preference when I'm installing it for my Mac OS, I just use, which is a simple way, command line installer. Okay, I just use these commands simply, and my AWS CLI will be installed. So how you can verify? Installation is simple. I'm not going to install these things. These videos are also available in my YouTube channel as well if you want to see. But it's very simple. So when you install, you have to make sure you can confirm the installation. How you can confirm this installation? Okay, so you have to type AWS boolean and check Terraform. So you have to make sure these two things are installed. When installation is done, we have to do very important thing, which is to configure AWS CLI. AWS configure so you have to paste your access key, secret key, and tell the region name. So first of all, I'm just going to copy my access key. If you have closed this page, you can just use your CSV file and just copy the access key and the secret key. And then I have to copy secret key. Yes, I'm going to use US West 2. But if you have different requirements, okay, you can use. But I will recommend, if you just going to, for the testing purpose, make sure you use US West 2, because we are mentioning this region a lot in this tutorial. So AWS is now configured. That's great. Next, we have to create AWS S3 bucket and DynamoDB. Why? Because in the Terraform, I'm using in the backend file, I'm using to store the state of Terraform, I'm using AWS S3 bucket, okay, and the DynamoDB. So I'm just going to create with this name, but you can create with another name, but make sure you replace the name here. So I have to just go to my console. If I search AWS S3, okay, so now I will just click on create button, and I will give a name to my bucket and just click create bucket. So my bucket is now created. And next, what I have to do, I have to go to the DynamoDB. Here you have to click create table. So log files, this will be my table name, log ID, partition key, and just click create table. So my table is now created. I have to just verify in my Terraform backend TF file, okay, I have to make sure the region, bucket name, and the DynamoDB table should match, which I have created on AWS. So I'm done with AWS S3 bucket creation and the DynamoDB. Next, what we have to do, we are going to create infrastructure on AWS. We have to create a Jenkins server. To create the Jenkins server, I'm using Terraform. So Terraform will help me to create infrastructure for my Jenkins server. I have defined all these things in all these files for EC2, because we are going to create EC2 instance for our Jenkins server. And this is my infrastructure. And this is a variable file. All the variables are defined here. If you want to change the variables, you can change, but I will recommend go with what it is. Okay, and the region that I'm using, which is US West 2, okay, and you can use this region as well. And here I have a script. In the script, when instance will be created, this script will be executed, and this script will install a lot of tools. Those are mentioned in this script, which will help us to automate the process easier. So what we have to do to create infrastructure, as we have Terraform already installed, I have to go to this folder in my terminal. I will just open this folder in my terminal. I will do Terraform init. Okay, I will just initialize my Terraform. This is first command you have to run in your Jenkins Server Terraform folder. So it will initialize the backend. Okay, so my Terraform is successfully initialized. Next, I have to validate my Terraform code. So make sure my Terraform code has no problem. So what I will do, I will just run a command which is Terraform validate. So it will validate my code of Terraform to make sure everything is fine. Okay, everything is good. So let's create this infrastructure. But yeah, before we create infrastructure in EC2 instance, we need to attach a key pair, a PIM file with our EC2 instance. So for this, I have to create a PIM file, okay, key. So what I have to do, I will need to run a command so it can create a PIM file for me, because later on I have to SSH to my instance. So I can pre-create a PIM file and I will attach this, assign this to my Jenkins server. So what I will do, I will run a command which will help me to create a PIM file. So this command is available in my article as well. Let's run this command. So you can see this PIM file is created here. I will use later in this video. So let's apply the Terraform apply. So it will be going to create infrastructure on AWS EC2 infrastructure for the Jenkins server. Yes, give approval. So it can take maximum 2-3 minutes for you to create your infrastructure on AWS for your Jenkins. So after this, what we are going to do, we are going to SSH to our server. So it's easy. You will need to open your terminal. Just please wait first. Your infrastructure should be successfully completed, created, and then we will SSH to our Jenkins server. If I show you on AWS console here, EC2, here you can see one instance is being created with the help of Terraform. And what you can do, that's very simple. To connect with your instance, you have to just run these two commands. This one, which is point number 3 command, and this one, example. It will help us to connect with our server. So first of all, I will copy this, okay, and I will run this into my terminal. But before I run, I need to make sure that I'm at the same folder where my PIM file is downloaded. So how I can go to that folder? If I go to my Visual Studio Code, as our infrastructure is successfully created, I will do pwd, okay, just to get the path. So this is my path where my PIM file is. So in the terminal, I will go into this path, okay, and then I will execute those two commands. This one, so I can connect with my Jenkins server, and the next this command. Yes. Okay, so now we are connected with our Jenkins server. To configure AWS, we have to run a command AWS configure. One thing I want to tell here, after the infrastructure, your Jenkins server is created, you must wait at least 5 to 6 minutes, because the script which is available in Visual Studio Code, when this infrastructure is being created, it can take some time for the installation. So to avoid any problems, so you need to just wait 5 to 6 minutes before you configure AWS, and so these installation can be done. So let's configure AWS, and I have to get the key I have here, and then my secret key. I want to use US West 2. Okay, my AWS is configured as well on my Jenkins server. So now I have to just copy the instance IP, public IP, and I have to go and open my Jenkins server, which is available on port 8080. So here you can see our Jenkins is successfully ready to use. I will get the password, which is simple, sudo cat. This is a Jenkins password. Okay, so what I have to do here, I will just replace the password, but first we have to install suggested plugins. So almost all the suggested plugins are installed. I have to give a username. I can give any username. Code with move, and the password, I will just give a new password. And the email, you can give any email. Okay, so save and continue. Yes, finish. Start using Jenkins. We have to install some plugins on Jenkins. I have to click on Manage Jenkins. I can just increase some size. Okay, so on Manage Jenkins, you have to click on Plugins, and here you have to click on Available Plugin. You have to search the plugins one by one, select. Make sure you don't forget to install any plugin. Sometimes you check in and the checkbox can be unclicked. So this will be the first plugin, and the second plugin we have to search, which is AWS Steps. Okay, and the next we have to install Docker, which is Docker. Okay, simply Docker. And next we have to Node.js, and one more is Sonarqube. Yes, Sonarqube scanner. And then we have dependency check, PS, OWSP. Okay, yes, and this plugin we have to install as well. So these are the plugins that we have to install. One more plugin we have to install as well, which is Eclipse. This is okay. This one we have to also install. So these are the plugins that you have to install. Just click on install. So it can take approximately 2 to 5 minutes maximum. So all the plugins will be installed. Okay, so all the plugins are now installed. We have to restart the Jenkins. Restart can take few seconds. Okay, so I have to log in with my new username and password that I have created earlier. Okay, so we are done with the plugins of Jenkins. Next, we have to go to the Sonarqube dashboard, which is available at port 9090. How this Sonarqube container was created. So I need to, it is I think on 9000. Yeah, Sonarqube is available on 9000. When our Terraform infrastructure was applied, During that, we have created a Docker container of Sonarqube. Okay, so Sonarqube is now running on our Jenkins server, so we can access it in the browser on port 9000. So what I will do here, I will just enter admin. Password is also same, admin. Just log in. It will ask you to reset, create a new password. Just give name. Okay, so the password is now created. Here we have to create projects. To create the projects, I will just go click on manually here and give a name frontend. Okay, setup. Click on locally. Yeah, you can generate this token and continue. Click others, click Linux, and you have to copy these lines of code. Don't copy the first line, just copy these lines and go to your project. In your project, you have to go Jenkins pipeline, go to the front-end folder, and here you will see these lines of the code. You have to just replace with those. So just make sure you have properly added. Okay, and then for the backend, I have to create another project, give a name backend, manually, yes. Branch is main. Okay, generate the token, continue Linux. Yes, again you have to copy these commands, but don't copy the first line. Okay, in the backend folder, you have to go and update this as well, because the Sonarqube we will use for the code analysis. Okay, so Sonarqube integrations in these two files is done. Next, we have to create a token. I have to go to the Sonarqube dashboard, click on administrative. In the administration, you have to click on security, go to the users. Here you will click on this button. You have to create a token here. Give a name Sonar token. Okay, just copy this token and just save it somewhere. I'm just going to save it in my notes.txt because we will use this in the Jenkins. Okay, next we have to create a webhook on the Sonarqube as well. Just go to the dashboard, click on administration. In the configuration, click webhooks, create a webhook. You have to give name Jenkins, and in the URL you have to first paste the Jenkins URL, this one, and you have to add Sonarqube webhook. Just make sure the spellings, everything is correct. Okay, all good. Just click create. Now we are done with the Sonarqube integration. Now I have to go to my AWS console. I have to create ECR repositories. I have to create 2 Docker registries on ECR. To create AWS ECR Docker registry, you have to search ECR Elastic Container Registry. And here, if you have any registry before, you can, with the same name, you can delete. So I'm just going to delete so we can have some fresh start. I will click create repository. I will just give name frontend, and one will be for the backend. Okay, just create. So we have now 2 repositories, those are created. One thing that we have to do here, just click on any repository and click on view push commands, because we have to log into ECR on our Jenkins server. I will just go to the Jenkins server and run this command. So I'm logged in with ECR as well. And one more thing, you have to update in your, to confirm it, you have to go to the Kubernetes and the backend. Here in the deployment, you can find this. You can just replace initially here latest, that's fine. And make sure you must replace this, because your account ID will be different. This is my account ID. So basically, this is the link of your ECR for the backend. So if I just go and if I copy this, okay, so you have to replace it here and just double check if somewhere I'm using. You can also update with your registry name. Okay, similarly in the backend folder of Kubernetes manifest, you have to go to the front end and the deployment. Here you can also see, just for the first time you have to replace latest, and next time the Jenkins will replace the image tag automatically. So we are done with the AWS ECR repositories. Now we have to add some credentials on our Jenkins. So click on manage Jenkins. We have to add total 7 credentials. Just click on credentials, click on system, and also click on global credentials. So add credentials. First we are going to add AWS key. I will first choose AWS credentials here and just give a name ID and same. And so we have to add here access key and the secret access key. So I have already, you can also get from CSV file as well. I will just copy and update it here, access key and my secret key, and just create. Next we have to add another credentials, which will be GitHub, which will be username and password. It will be your GitHub username. If you have cloned my GitHub repo, you will need to give your username. So code with move, and the password, how you can create the password on your, I would say on your GitHub. So you don't need to use your password of GitHub, you have to create a personal access token. So just here you have to open the settings, and here you have to go to developer settings, click on personal access token and go to the tokens classic, and here you have to create a new classic token. Just validate your account. I will just give name code with move. Any name you can just give. Okay, and just give permission to the repos. you can give workflow, and you can also give, I think these are enough, but if you want to give more, that's up to you, but these informations are enough to use our keys. So okay, so this is my key. I will just create a token, and this is the token that you have to place here as a password, and it will be GitHub in a capital letter, and create. Next, add another, okay, just click secret text, and the secret will be the same, a personal token that you have, your GitHub token. I will need to, yeah, and give a name GitHub. So I'll just copy this token again, okay. So I'm not going to create a duplicate, but we have to just follow what I'm doing. So just create this another token, which is GitHub as a secret text. Next we have to add a Sonar token, so it will be also a secret text. Okay, the value of the Sonar token that we have already created and I have in my notes, I will just copy this and paste it here, create a token. So this password is also saved, Sonar token. Next we have to store another secret text, which is, I would say, ECR Repo frontend. This name of the repo, which is frontend, just make sure you enter correct name. And then similarly you have to create for the backend. I will just give name ID backend. Okay, so oh no, we have to first update it to the secret text. Okay, no, we have to, it is a backend. Okay, just create it. Now we have the front and backend repo names saved. Next we have to add another, which is account ID of your AWS account. Secret text, account ID, you can just get your account ID here, just copy it and paste it. Make sure you copy it, you don't need to enter something wrong. Okay, so I have to just double check. You can just tap in the browser and then you have to enter here. Sometimes you have copied any any other text, so you just make sure everything is good. So good, so we have created all the 7 credentials. Next we have to go to the manage plugins. We have to configure our plugins because we have installed the plugins, so now it's time to configure those plugins. So to configure those plugins, we have to go to the tools, in the tools we need to first find JDK. So just select JDK, just give name JDK, install automatically from this website. Just select the latest one. And the next tool that we have to select, which is Sonar Scanner. Here is a Sonar Scanner installation. Give name Sonar Scanner. Install automatically, it's selecting the latest one, that is fine. Next we have Node.js. Node.js and install it automatically as well, the latest one. Okay, next we have dp check. Okay, just give name dp check, install automatically. We have to install it from GitHub. All good. Next we have Docker. Just give name Docker. We have to install it from the Docker hub, the latest one. Save it. So now we have configured the plugins, those were installed. The one more thing that is we have to do, we have to just go here to the systems. We have to add Sonarqube public IP. Just go here, just scroll down. You can find Sonarqube. Yeah, this one. So here you have to add Sonarqube. Just give name Sonar server, and here you have to copy your public IP address and the port, and then you have to paste it here. Okay, and the token, which is a Sonar token, you have to select. Okay, and then you have to save, apply, which is good. We are done with the Jenkins configurations installation. Now you have to go to the terminal. Now we are going to create our cluster, AWS EKS cluster. To create AWS EKS cluster, we have to use this command. So in this command, we have the cluster name. This is the cluster name and the region, because I am in the US West 2 region, so I'm using US West 2 in all my tutorial. So yeah, I'm going to create T2 medium, minimum 2, maximum 2. So it will create my cluster. Just hit enter. So it is now starting and creating my cluster. Cluster creation can take up to 10 to 15 minutes. So you will need to wait till the cluster creation is created. Okay, so our cluster is now created and ready. So we can verify it. We can run a command kubectl get nodes. So we can see our cluster is ready. Next we have to configure the load balancer on our EKS, because our application will have the ingress controller. So first we have to download the policy for the load balancer. You have to use this command. These commands are available in my article, so you can easily get it. And then we have to create an IAM policy for the load balancer controller. Use this command. Next we have to create OIDC provider. Just use this command. Make sure the cluster name and the region, everything is fine. Next we have to run this command, but before we run this command, we have to make sure, because we are going to create an IAM service account for our cluster. So here if I just see, I have to replace my account ID here. So I will just replace my AWS account ID here. I can get it from, okay, I have already stored it. This is my AWS account ID. Okay, just paste it. So this is a complete link for creating an service account, IAM service account, and click into. Just make sure you have cluster name correct, region name. So just click enter. I'm just going to run this command now. Okay. So the service account is, IAM service account. It will take some time. And after that, we will be going to deploy the AWS load balancer controller. Service account is created. So I'm just going to add the Helm repo first. Helm repo, update the task. No, with the help of Helm, I'm just going to deploy my AWS load balancer controller. So we have to use a command which is this command that I have to use. Here you have to make sure the cluster name is correct to avoid any problems. So all good. Okay, so load balancer controller is installed. In 2 to 3 minutes, you have to check whether your pods are running or not, and successful installation of the load balancer or all these things. So we have to just wait here for 2 minutes. So to check the pods are running or not, we will be using this command. So you can see both are ready and available. Next, we are going to install Prometheus and Grafana. To install the Prometheus and Grafana, we have to first understand why we will be going to use Grafana and Prometheus. So Grafana is an open source platform for data visualization and analytics. So it will allow us to query and visualize and alerts and see all the data from Prometheus about our AWS EKS cluster. So we have to know first, add a Helm, stable chart. So we are going to install Grafana and Prometheus. So just set enter, add this repo, and next you have to enter second command. You have to add Prometheus community help repository. Use this command, and then we have to create a namespace monitoring. Namespace is created. Now we have to install Prometheus with Grafana. So let's install the Prometheus in the namespace monitoring. So this command, will deploy Prometheus. So it can take approximately few seconds. Okay, so Prometheus is installed. We can verify the pods using running this command. Monitor in the namespace monitoring. We can see these are the Prometheus is successfully installed. The pods are running. We can also check the services in the monitoring namespace. These are all that one we will be going to use. This is the Prometheus is running on 9090 port. So one thing is we have to expose this from cluster IP to the load balancer. So how we can do that? We have to run a command which we have to edit the service, which was this service which was on port 9090 in the namespace monitoring. We have to go to this file and we have to replace a line from cluster IP to the load balancer, so we can access it easily. So I will just say here insert load balancer, then save the file. Okay, so all good. File is now edited. Now how we can now check it again? So just run this command, so we can run, and here we go. So here you can see this load balancer, and this will be our load balancer A racket, and which is running on 9090. And now what we have to do, we have to make the Grafana to the cluster load balancer instead of cluster IP. So I will be just going to run the command. I will have to edit the file, service file for the Grafana, and here I will also replace, and just follow me all the steps that I am doing so you can get this done easily. Okay, load balancer. Okay, file is saved. Next we have to know we can access both. So just enter this command. So you will be able to see the A racket. This is the A racket of the Grafana. Like if I have to copy this, and if I have to go to the browser, but you can wait up to 1 minute. Sometimes load balancer are getting ready, and so you can see them in browser. So currently you can see it is getting ready. So in at least 1 to 2 minutes you have to wait. So I'm also waiting for it, and also let me copy the A racket of Prometheus, which is running on port 9090. Okay, so I will just hit enter, port 9090. So you can see the Prometheus is ready. Prometheus is ready, and let me refresh this as well. This will be getting ready, so we have to just a little wait for the Grafana. It can take 2 minutes to get the Grafana ready. So this will be our Prometheus, which is successfully installed and accessible onto the load balancer. Now I have to just go and just need to make sure I have to copy the Grafana CNAME A racket and need to paste it here. Yes, looks like it's going to accessible. So approximately 2-3 minutes. You don't need to worry about if it's not accessible in first 1 to 2 minutes. So the Grafana is also ready. So now we have to log in into the Grafana. To log in into the Grafana, we have to enter the username and the password. First, let's the Grafana should be ready. Okay, admin, and the password is Prom operator. And this password is also available in my article as well. So just log in to your Grafana. So when you're logged in into the Grafana, you have to click on, you have to first add your first data source here. Select Prometheus. So here you have to enter the Prometheus URL, which is your A racket you have already. So what I will do, I will just copy the Prometheus URL. Okay, so I will just go here and copy this link with port 9090, and I will paste it here. Okay, so make sure you have copied it correctly. all good. You don't need to change anything here, just save it, save and test. If you see successful message, it's mean all good. Now if you go to the dashboard, so when you are in the dashboard, you have to click on create, just click on new, and you have to click here import. Into the import, you have to give the grafana.com ID, which is unique ID, which is 64. You can also give this ID 6417. Just click on load. Okay, and then here you have to select the data source, which we have already created, this one, Prometheus 1. Okay, and then click on import. After the import, you will see here the stats, all your cluster, EKS cluster stats will come here. You will be able to see all the analysis, all the analytics, alerts onto this dashboard. Next, we have to go to the Jenkins. And here we are going to set up pipelines. Click on new item, give a name frontend, select pipeline. In the pipeline, you have to paste a script. Just go to your code, and here you have to copy the Jenkins frontend script. Just make sure you have updated the GitHub, okay, because I'm using my own GitHub. If you clone my GitHub repo, so you will have your own username. Just read this file. If something is belong to my username, you have to update it with your. So just copy and paste it here, save it, and similarly you have to create for the backend. Click on new item, pipeline, it should be backend. Okay, and here you have to copy the backend pipeline, which is this one. Okay, so just go and paste it, save it. And here what you have to do, you have to run the backend build first. When the backend build is, pipeline is successfully completed, then you have to run the front-end build. Meanwhile, these builds are running, we have to install ArgoCD. So just go to your terminal. In the terminal, create a namespace 3-tier. Namespace is created. We need to create a generic for ECR registry, the secret. These commands are available in my article, so you don't need to worry about it. Next, we have to, so we know we are going to install ArgoCD. This namespace we will be using for our backend, for our database, for our ingress controller. So we have to create namespace ArgoCD, where we will be installing ArgoCD and all the setup related to the ArgoCD. And then we have to run this command so we can apply ArgoCD, and the installation of ArgoCD will be done. When the installation is done, we have to make sure the ArgoCD pods must be running. So you have to run this command. Okay, so few are running, few are in initialization phase, so we have to just wait for maybe few seconds. If you just run the command again, you can see only, almost all are ready. Next, what we have to do, because we have to expose our kubectl ArgoCD to the load balancer. So we have to run this command so we can access it onto the load balancer. Okay, load balancer is patched. How you can? So we have to know browse. We have to go to the load balancer which is related to the ArgoCD. So which is very simple. You have to just enter the command and check ArgoCD, and here you can see the load balancer a record, and you have to just hit enter. Sometime wait for 1 minute because load balancer gets ready in few seconds. So you can see here currently it's not accessible, so we have to just wait for a few seconds. So then we will be able to access our ArgoCD dashboard. I have to little wait. So meanwhile, let's check we can see our pipelines for the backend, which is in process. We can see the output, which is coming in a console. Yeah, this build first time initially it can take 15 minutes because it has to install some packages on all this stuff, but the next time it will take a few seconds. One thing I have to we have to wait here. We have to wait. Yeah, oh, that's fine. Our ArgoCD is now ready. Just click on unsafe. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we have to log into the ArgoCD using admin password and username. How we can do that? So to get the password and username, we have to go to the terminal first. And the terminal, we have to first install JQ. So then we will be able to get the password of our ArgoCD. So I will be going to run a command which will give us the password of ArgoCD, which is available in my article. So this is the password of ArgoCD. Just copy, and this will be password and username will be admin. Sign in. Oh, which is done. No, we have to do some setups. First of all, we have to configure a private repository. We have GitHub repository as a private, but I will make it public for you guys. You can use it. So I have this private repository. So I will click on repository, create using HTTPS, git, default, and the link. This is my link of my repo. Just copy with HTTPS and paste it here, and again the code with move, okay, and the password, which is the personal access token. So make sure you have the token and you can paste it here. I think all done. Just do the save, connect. So if it's successful, it will show you are authenticated with your GitHub. Next, go to the dashboard and click on new app. You have to add a database. So here I want to tell you one thing, that I am using 3-tier architecture. I'm using to deploy a front-end and back-end application, which is a database. If I go to the app code, the front-end is a React and the back-end is in the Django Rest Framework back-end based on Python. So I'm using Postgres SQL database, which is defined in Kubernetes manifest. Here it is database, and we can see the deployment. These are all the configurations. So let's go to the dashboard here. Database, application name, automatic sync with the Git link that we have added. That's good. And the path. Yeah, make sure your path is correct. Here you have to go to this will be the path. Just copy, I will just going to copy the name so I don't make any mistake. Okay, the path and then database where your deployment file is. So inside this folder we have database folder, and inside the database folder we have the deployment file. Okay, so this will be the path, which is good, and the cluster, this one, just use default, and the 3 tier that we have created already, this namespace. I know you have to click on create. One thing need to make sure my application should be updated on Git, so I'm just going to commit the changes that I have done. Okay, next we have to add another application, which will be the backend, and yeah, the default automatic, that's good, and we have to add, and this will be backend, because in the manifest we have the backend folder where our deployment file for the backend exists. Namespace will be 3 tier. Okay, so we have to just save it and create. This is created. Next we have to create for the front end, default automatic, simply same process, and this will be for the front end. Namespace 3 tier. Okay, all good. And next we have to add another app, which will be the backend and the front end ingress. Backend ingress automatic, just give name, and because the backend ingress is available in the folder backend, you can verify it. It's available in the repo, which is, if I go here in the manifest, which is this one, backend ingress, and this file is available here. So I have to just give name the correct name of the folder where the file exists. Okay, and the cluster, and the name is again 3 tier. All good. Backend ingress is created. Next we have to create the front end ingress. Front end auto. So here we have to public, and this will be my front end. These ingress are based on load balancer, so these load balancer will be created, so I will show you how these are done. So 3 tier, all good, just click create. So all the apps those are needed we have created those, all the applications. So what do we have to do now? Let's go to the code, and we can see what are the changes that you need to make. Sometime you have to make. So if I have to go to suppose into the front end ingress, here you can see I have domain, that will be I'm going to use this domain. So if you have a different domain, so you have to replace this domain and push your changes. So this is my domain, and these are my namespace that I'm using, and my application is running on port 3000, which is my front end application here, Docker container for the front end. And similarly for the backend ingress, I have a subdomain which I will be using api.devs.shop. So this is and it will be running on load balancer, which is also good, fine, and which is good. And one more thing that I want to share, which is if I just go to the backend folder here in the service, uh, which is fine. Yeah, here you can see, because in my application, in my Django backend application, I have a path where it will check the health of your application. So you need to make sure you should have some sort of health check APIs where you can add it the path of your API, like the base URL, and this will be the path. So it will check health status. If it's written in 200 status or 202 status, so it will make your load balancer up and running. So make sure you have these paths. If you have your own project, that's good. And these are the database credentials, those are being used. And this is the Docker image, all good. I think that's fine. And yeah, these things you have to make sure, like while deploying and making those changes. In the backend, I have this Docker file which is being used. I'm running the application on port 8000, and the script which is running this and these things. Okay, now let's go to my Jenkins. So if I have to check my Jenkins, I think it will be processing, because it can take 15 to 20 minutes first install, because it has to install some this main package, which is good. So I think while everything is getting ready, we have to do one thing, which is Cloudflare. Let's me log in into my Cloudflare account. And my Cloudflare account, because I have my domain on GoDaddy. So if you want to know how to add your GoDaddy or any other domain on your Cloudflare, how you can do that, you will need to simply add the domain. I have a video, you can see this video which is available on my YouTube, and just add your domain. When you're done with your domain add, you can just go to this DNS, and here you can have this 3 racket. I will just replace this with my backend load balancer A racket, and this will be for the front end. I will be able to access my front end application. So these two we will replace. So we have to just complete our Jenkins pipelines done, and the load balancer which is being created on ArgoCD. So here we can see the console output. It is our backend pipeline is almost going to finish successfully. So we can see all the logs, code analysis, okay, and images pushed to the AWS ECR, and all the packages were also installed. Okay, finished with success. So it's mean our backend pipelines is done. Now we have to run our front end pipeline. And if I go to the details, I will just click here and go to the console output of the front end, and we can see currently it's doing analysis of the code. Code analysis is almost done. Next, it is going to it is building our Docker image. Okay, so front end is also successfully, the pipeline is completed. In case you have any failure, you can see in the console output of the pipeline what mistake you did. So my both pipelines are successfully done. Now I have to go to my ArgoCD dashboard, and here I can see almost all are healthy. Just I need to refresh. They are getting sync. Backend is ready. So here I have to get the backend ingress and the front end ingress load balancer. So I have to go to my here I have to search load balancer, because the backend and the front end ingress has load balancer CNAME bracket. So I can get it. Here we have This is for the database host, but these are two. So first I will just copy front end one, this one, and I will go to my CNAME. I will just update for the front end, this one, CNAME record. If you are using Cloudflare, any other services, you have to just go and you have to update, add this CNAME record. Similarly for the backend, I will just copy this DNS record and I will update it here. Okay, save it. So in 1 to 2 minutes, if you will just go to your services, okay, then you will be able to access it. Okay, just clicking here, you will be able to see your front end and back end application on your domain. So currently database is in a sync process, front end is ready, so we can just a little wait. So as soon as our database will be ready, we will be able to utilize our application. So here, if you want to see the logs of any app in the ArgoCD, you have to just click here and you can open the logs easily, just going back to events, and you can see some events here. Okay, so and if I select here, I can see the logs. Similarly, if I just go to the application, which is my backend application, and if I click here and I go to the logs, I will be able to see my application is running and all good. So if any issue you see, you can just look into the logs and you will be able to see your application. So what I will do here, I will just be going to just click this icon and go to your front end application. So you can see here, this is my front end application which is deployed, and if I can add something, code with move DevSecOps. Okay, so we can add, you can see the backend is also working and APIs are responding. Okay, so if I have to check my backend ingress, just click here and I can see my backend APIs are also ready. So just make sure you wait for all these services are ready and sync, and then you can easily access these services and deploy your DevSecOps project easily. So this was very interesting and easy and not complex, but you have to do some practice and just watch my video again and again, so you will be able to do this project easily. And one more thing, that if after doing this project, if you're just doing for the testing purpose, you have to do one thing. You have to delete your cluster, okay, and then you have to destroy your resources, your infrastructure as well. But in my article, as I have mentioned, you have to first delete your cluster, okay, and then you have to destroy your infrastructure. Imagine if I just show you these commands available in my articles, because to avoid the AWS cost, so you need to just be sure. Okay, so the cleanup process is very simple. You will need to just delete your cluster first. When it's done, then you have to destroy your Terraform infrastructure. It's very easy. Okay, then you have to delete your S3 bucket and DynamoDB. Just do step by step. Okay, so I hope you like this video and ask me questions in the comment. If you have any query, ask me in the comment, and like this video and share it with your friends, with your colleagues. Okay, and one more thing, if you have not subscribed to my channel, you can subscribe it, and because it will help me to create more content, and it will help me engage with you guys. Also build more. It takes some time to create this content. I hope you guys like this video, and I will see you in my next video. Have a good day. Bye.